Hi everybody, I've not done a video for a while, just been a little bit busy doing all sorts of things. Excuse me, and still got this throat chakra clearing going off. So I thought I would just come on and do this video because I keep being drawn to this word ego and what it really means. I think many of us have kind of got a bit of a misinterpretation of what ego is going off. And, before I actually say what I'm going to say, I just want you to understand that we are all right as well as we can also be wrong. So, your perception of whatever I say from here on in, whether you agree with it or not, is fine. It's okay because none of us are wrong. This is how we learn things and this is how we grow from our experiences. But the reason why I wanted to talk about ego, sorry, I'm trying to hold my phone with one hand, but it makes my arm ache when I do that. The reason why I wanted to talk about ego is because I don't think we really get what it actually means. So this is my perception. Ego is part of our subconscious, and it's kind of where we create our personalities, and our personality is created from all our life experiences. This is my own personal perception based on the work that I do, by the way. So I think what we have to do is we have to sort of get away from the fact that we are under the impression that we've got to get rid of our ego. That ego has to do a runner, disappear. We have to kick it out of our lives and it be done completely. That's not really what's going to happen. What we do have to do is find another role for it. Because ego is exactly the same as the rest of your mind. It's part of a giant computer. And that computer is fed information. That information comes from all of our life experiences, the things that we learn, the things that we are exposed to, pretty much everything in our life. And through that, we are using this computer system to filter out information and filter in what is perceived by the ego to be necessary. Now, the reason why I say it like that is because from my experience of the clients that I've worked with so far, there isn't anyone on this planet that doesn't at some point in their lives, and probably on a daily basis, fall into that ego. Because that ego can be fear driven, but it can also be passion driven. So when we talk about fear driven, quite a lot of the information that we store, and to try to explain that a bit easier, is a lot of the information that we store is created through the lessons that we learn, the experiences that we go through, which if I say this is a form of programming, most people then step straight into their ego and say, I don't like the word program, like I don't have a mind of my own. But the point is, you do have a mind of your own, because in all of your experience in life, you get to choose how you want to react or respond to things. So you're the one that's in control of your own programming, because you have to give permission basically with the way that you choose to react to it, whether you're going to accept it or whether you're not. So going back to ego, my nose is running now. I think I've got a little bit of a cold, so excuse me a minute. I don't want it to be running down my face as I'm talking. Ew, that's an awful picture to think, isn't it? But anyway, ego, when we talk about it from a spiritual perspective, and we say, you know, to become enlightened, to become a better person, or to be in line with our soul. Enlightenment is being in line with your soul. We should have to get rid of ego. We should have to let it go. But I notice so many people that still feel that they're not actually in their ego, so to speak, and yet they still use certain words that are not probably what in the spiritual field would be deemed as conducive to being an enlightened person. But we have to remember that we're living human lives, and we're going to get triggered by all sorts of things that happen in life, and we're going to respond the way that we do because that's what we know. You know, it's this fight or flight thing that goes off. The problem with the ego is when it reaches a point where it is constantly and persistently telling you a story to keep you in that fight or flight or that fear mentality. What we have to learn to do is reprogram that. So how can we reprogram it? What we can do is give it other information to focus on. We could give it another role. We could, choose, because we are the controllers of our own programs. We are the controllers of our computer system. So we could feed it different information from our experiences. We understand that as law of attraction goes, you know, what we think we perceive, and what we perceive we believe. Equally, we can change that. You know, we have the capacity to change it. So when people say to you, you know, you've got to get out of your own ego, you're very egotistical, the very fact that people say things like that means that they're actually in their ego. Now, how interesting is that? By the way, I'm not immune from this. I'm human, just like everybody else. But the one thing I've learnt is that I question myself a lot, and how I respond to things and what I think and feel. And even if I get it wrong and I kind of go in it like a bull at a gate and then feel angry about stuff and, you know, like, could have done that better, that's ego. So it's about recognizing that the acceptance would be to say, yes, I have an ego. It is part of my computer system, and as part of my computer system, then I have the capacity to feed it different information. So we're never going to get rid of ego, but ego in the future will play a different role. I think the actual word ego and the connotations behind it, when all said and done, that word was created by man or woman, you know, but a human. And the connotations behind it was placed there by humans. So equally, we can change it. So I hope this makes a bit of sense. One of the fields that I work in, amongst all my spiritual stuff, is that I help people to break out of those patterns and, you know, rebuild their own authenticity. So if that's something that you would be interested in learning more about, then give me a shout and let's have a chat. Have a fabulous Tuesday. I'm just about to get ready to do a healing. But I thought I've just broke off to have my lunch, and I've got this thing in my head for 2 days that I wanted a Yorkshire pudding. And I'd made myself a stew. There was a remainder of it left, so I've just had an amazing homemade Yorkshire pudding full of my stew, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing today. So enjoy your day, and I'll be back soon with another, hopefully, enlightening video. Take care for now.